teenagers are the people that need music the most, I think. Teenhood is like so like difficult, and music is a guiding light through a lot of the darkness of growing up. We just kind of make the music that we wanted to hear when we were in our teens. That's why we do it.
Radio Free Alice is an Australian transplant in London, and I lead with this because it's essential to understanding who they are as a band. Leaving their home country wasn't a choice for them. It was simply the necessary next step in becoming a global force. If you dig, you'll find countless phenomenal Australian bands, but you have to dig. This group is taking your shovel away from you and saving you the work. Their third EP, Empty Words, came out Wednesday, and their debut album is already on the way. They're also touring through Europe and North America through mid-October, but they managed to find some time before all that to have a chat with me first. At the time of this recording, your third EP, Empty Words, is out tomorrow, which is really exciting. You've been through this routine a couple of times now with your last two EPs. What feels different about this one versus the last two?
Well, I mean, it's different on a few levels. One of them is that it's definitely going to be the last EP we released before the album. But also, it was all kind of patched together, this EP. A lot of the recordings, kind of all 4 tracks came from different producers. So yeah, it was quite kind of experimental in that way.
Okay.
I just think it's also musically, it's just each EP, I think we're just getting a little bit closer to the band we want to be and how we want to sound and the type of songs we want to write. And so it's just a little bit closer.
And actually, you touched on this a little bit. You guys are an Australian band, currently based in London. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I've read some recent interviews. You've mentioned before that you sort of feel like at arm's length with a lot of the better recognized bands from Australia because you just you make different music from them. I know like the garage surf scene is really big over there right now.
Yeah.
And being in London, you're a lot farther than arm's length, but was this sort of a strategic move to get away from Australia or maybe be around like a more diverse music community? What sort of went into that decision?
In some ways it was just a no-brainer. I mean,
sure.
It's just like, we love Australia, but it's on the other side of the world and it's culturally, I just don't know if it's quite as vibrant as London.
Yeah.
And also the music that is sort of currently the law of the land still we don't resonate with largely. Yeah, I think we felt a little bit out of place amongst the Triple J landscape.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's still so many great bands in Australia, but they're not really embraced by the gatekeepers of the industry.
Yeah.
No, I think like the equivalent here, say, of like Triple J is like BBC Six.
Sure.
And we just fit in more here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's frustrating because like we say that we don't resonate with a lot of the music in Australia, but like a lot of the bands that we know and love in Melbourne are like great and we resonate with very much, but it's just a shame because the industry doesn't promote that sort of thing, and it seems like here it is a no-brainer to come here because they do promote that sort of style and the grassroots element. They're not streamlined into one specific sound like garage or surf or
I've actually talked to a lot of Australian bands who sort of face the same kind of struggle of like kind of not wanting to be pigeonholed and then also not wanting to like change their sound for promotion purposes.
Yeah.
Have you found any other advantages to being based in London versus Australia? And was it like a challenge wanting to establish yourselves sort of away from where your home is?
No, not really. I mean, we haven't really felt any challenges. In a way, we felt being in Australia more challenged. Like this whole tour is basically sold out. And it's the opposite. I mean, look, there are people we come across at shows and they like thought we were a British band until like they sort of dug a little deeper recently and realized we weren't.
Yeah.
So almost more challenges at home than here. Well, I mean, being in the UK, you're so close to Europe, and even touring the UK, like the advantages are just like geographically, it just makes it such a better place to tour than Australia because there's just so much more in a smaller space.
You mentioned touring. Your first headline tour across North America, I want to talk about that because that's where I'm based. It's just coming up in just a few weeks. Obviously, touring in the US is a lot different from touring in Europe, which is a lot different from touring in Australia. I think one of you said in a recent interview that it feels like the rules are looser in America. What are you guys most looking forward to about the tour coming up?
In a way, on just a personal level, exploring America. I mean,
sure.
None of us have really seen that much of America. I mean, we were there earlier this year for South by Southwest. We spent some time in New York and Connecticut.
Right.
And I went there as a kid, but just to sort of go through Middle America and just sort of experience it's such a strange, diverse country, and at the moment it's an interesting place in an interesting place. So on almost a touristy kind of level, I'm just excited to see the country.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting to see how like audiences, or there are differences in response to us, because like the UK does have such a rich, long history of indie rock.
Yeah.
I mean, America does too, but it's different. And it'll be interesting to see if we're embraced in the same way by America.
Definitely. I think, America's just way spread out in terms of its scenes. Each city has its own history when it comes to like indie DIY stuff. So it'll definitely be interesting to see like the differences there. Is it true that your first US show was at South by Southwest? Did I read that?
Yeah.
What did you think of the reception generally?
Yeah, we loved it. We loved our time in Austin. Such a fun festival, such a fun city. But I felt like the responses were great. I mean, it was just like all the showcases we did there were always packed, and people seemed to be enjoying it. We got done dirty a bit with the sound a couple of times, but that's par for the course.
Yeah.
It was great.
Is there like a spot in the North American tour that you're looking most forward to, or just like the whole thing in general?
I think we're looking forward to going back to New York a lot. We had a really fun time in New York earlier this year. Yeah. We're playing in Canada as well, playing in Toronto. Yeah, keen for that, which would be fun. But I think New York, because we had such a nice time there earlier this year. It'd be cool to actually finally play a show there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys mentioned the album earlier. I just wanted to get into like writing and recording a little bit. I think it was Noah that mentioned in an old interview that when it comes to writing, the music often comes long before the lyrics, and then the words don't really come until sometimes like days before it's time to record.
Yeah.
Is that still the case, or has the process kind of changed a bit in the last year, I think, since that happened?
No, it's the same process. Yeah. Most of the songs that we've got out, and we've currently written, were sort of written this in a similar way. In line with what you're saying, like a lot of the music's written for the album and very little of the lyrics, which is just down to sort of laziness and avoiding personality issues.
Sure.
But the process hasn't changed. But I think that we'll probably, as we grow, we'll spend more time writing in the studio and experimenting in the studio. Because in the early days, a lot of it's like you've got one day to do like X amount of songs because of the whole money factor. So you're just sort of pumping them out, and then we have time to like write or play around. So I'm anticipating that change, but so far the process has stayed the same.
Okay. And I've read that you're typically most inspired while you're out on the road, but of course you can't always be out on the road and just touring all the time. So where or how would you say that most of your material typically comes together, if not on the road?
Well, I find these days, at least, a lot of great sort of stuff we write is in like sound check or just like very small pockets between whenever we have time. But when we're not on the road, like when we're back home, it's I don't know. It's like basically every day we're kind of jamming. I think we're all, we enjoy it so much, so it just kind of seems like a job, that
sure.
we want to treat it that way.
And the first single that you guys put out from the EP, which was Empty Words, it came out of a spontaneous jam session between some shows in London. So is that how you would say that a lot of the songs on the EP came about, or was it just that one? Not to get too into the weeds. Okay.
A lot of them come out that way. Most of them, yeah, on the road.
With guitars in the band.
Yeah, makes sense. And then I guess the last update I heard about the album, because you mentioned it earlier, is that I think this was back in March. You were planning on recording it very soon. Have you had a chance to record any of it, or how much can you say about it?
Yeah, no, not yet. We haven't recorded any of it yet.
Okay.
We're currently with a record label that's not worth getting into. So yeah, but the majority of it's written and ready to go. We need to record it.
Are you planning like a release time frame or something like that?
I reckon
Probably next.
Yeah, definitely next year. I would say mid next year. Probably, if we're being honest with ourselves.
Let's be honest here.
And then I guess sonically, how do you think it'll differ from your EPs?
It won't.
It won't. Okay.
It's actually like listening to, because obviously right now we have just kind of demos on phones and like very rough recordings of it, just that we've done ourselves, and it's very like, it is very different. I'm always like surprising myself how different it is, because every song that is in like the album contender list is like, even within amongst themselves, is very different as well. But I think that's a positive thing. I think we would like to strive towards a more eclectic album. Yeah, I think it's important. So yeah, I couldn't even like explain to you. I couldn't even like try and explain what we're going for, but it's just what it is.
I think over time, like if you look at when we started as a band, as I think is very common for most bands, is like you sort of have these very like foundational reference points that you start with, and then over time, the sort of ingredients get more complicated as you add more stuff to the pot, so to speak, and it becomes a little bit less easy. It becomes a little bit more difficult to identify exactly what bands you're referencing and what you're going for.
Sure.
And in that way, it becomes more like your own sort of sound. And so it's a little bit more, it's more unique and less referential and more us. Less easy to identify the sort of lineage.
Yeah, you said that the album's not going to be too dissimilar from the EPs, but it's still going to be very much your sound. What sort of went into like releasing a bunch of EPs, 2-3 years in a row, versus just like coming right out with an album after a couple singles?
That's a very good question, Jack. Part of it was external circumstances that meant we kind of couldn't. It didn't make sense to release the album yet.
Sure.
For sort of commercial reasons. Yeah. With label stuff, whatever. But in retrospect, like we probably would have released our first album this year, but we sort of couldn't. But in retrospect, although that was frustrating, I think that was the right thing to do in a way, because it meant that I believe in the romanticism of a debut album, and that's important, and it means that like we've sort of forced ourselves to resist writing and releasing the album until we're really ready to.
Sure.
And it's gonna be something really special. And also I think that like when we do release the album, you want a sort of max amount of people to hear it. And so holding off on just doing the EPs and sort of fostering our audience, in retrospect, is kind of cool that we've done it this way.
Jump around too much. I was going to actually ask this when we were talking about touring, but then I forgot and I couldn't remember what I was going to say. But you mentioned just the differences in scenes between Europe or London in particular, and then the US. It's all spread out. Something that I noticed recently, just as someone who lives in the US is that bands are often really big in the UK. We don't really have a lot of that in the US, like to the same degree that the UK might. Like one example that I always go to just because it's easy is like Fontaine's DC is absolutely massive right now in Europe.
Yeah.
You would never see that degree of fame for like a band, maybe an individual artist, but not for a band in the US. And so I don't know, is that something you guys have noticed? Is it maybe similar in Australia?
You definitely noticed that. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, as you say, like I could name a good handful of bands that are really doing well. They're all coming out of England. I actually could name a single one that is current. You know, like, I mean, there's big American bands, but they're 20 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
A band that's current, coming out of America, that's doing really well. I mean, you probably have being an American, have a better explanation for that. I mean, maybe it's got something to do with you guys feel like you've moved on from guitar music, or
I don't know,
something like that. I don't know, but there definitely seems to be a much stronger appetite in the UK and Europe for guitar music than America.
Yeah, something that if I'm ever talking about music with someone, which happens to be often, I'll just sort of challenge them to be like, okay, name a band that has formed in the last even 10 years that is like almost a household name across the US. And I don't think I can name one.
An American band or any band?
An American band, yeah.
Yeah.
Or really, I mean, yeah, when we're talking about the US, literally like any band.
Fontaines are the first in a long time. I mean, arguably they have become that, but like before them, it was a chasm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that like post-punk seems to be, I don't want to say gaining like traction, but I've really appreciated the recent success that I've seen, at least maybe in Europe, from sort of post-punk related bands. Is that a group that you might consider yourself a part of, or not so much, or it's not really something you think about?
Yeah, we do.
We become a post-punk band.
Well, like, are you sort of in a class of kind of Viagra Boys and Amyl and the Sniffers and Fontaines and Wonder Horse and
I feel like post-punk now is such a varied pool. You know, like
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I would say yes, just because, like, you know, if it's not, it kind of encompasses every band that's doing sort of like alternative music right now. It's in some degree.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we do think of ourselves as like that is commercially probably the lane we're in from a sort of, I don't know, a label perspective or something.
Sure.
But we don't think about it that much. And I wouldn't say we're influenced that much by many of them. So creatively, we don't think about it. But we are aware that is probably the camp we're in or aspiring to be in.
Sure, yeah. No, and in terms of influence, I know that you guys are typically, correct me if I'm wrong, when you're writing, sort of influenced by like the music you might have grown up on, like stuff that your parents might have been listening to when you were younger. Are there any bands in particular that you're just always listening to?
I feel like these days we've sort of listened to maybe a little more sort of contemporary stuff, what's going on at the moment. But I mean, at the core, there's these classic names we constantly dish out in interviews, like the Smiths and the Strokes and the Clash, and I mean, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, these are bands that we sort of always come back to, The Cure or whatever. Yeah. And yeah, like a lot of that would have been our parents.
Well, what kind of contemporary bands are you guys listening to?
Bar Italia, Sorry, Fontaine's DC.
Love Dean Blunt.
Yeah. Australian bands like Dust. New York band being Stella and Malice K.
Yeah.
Another Australian band called Sex Mask.
Pitbull.
I've seen Pitbull.
Wow.
I know. Crazy. And it was on my college campus too. It was wild. Jesus. Yeah. Played all the hits. I know. But no, you mentioned Ben Stiller. So I interviewed them last year, and just as sort of a, hobby, I was just kind of looking out for like other music by them just to sort of have. And I stumbled across their first album. It's not on Spotify, but I bought it at this record store in Seattle, and it sounds nothing like Ben Stiller. Yeah, it is complete. Like I wouldn't have even thought that it's the same band.
No.
Yeah, but no, I looked it up. It's the same band. So
you can't find it online.
You can't. No. I bet I have it on CD. Just
is it good, or is there a reason why you can't find it online?
I'd say maybe both. I think they just sort of like put everything they could onto it, and there's like one or two that are like, okay, you know, I can kind of see elements of who they are now, but I think largely there is a reason why you can't really find it online. I'm just gonna Google it real quick. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they would be like offended by me saying that.
No, well, clearly they're on the same page.
Yeah, right. They're well aware. I don't think you're the first.
They're devastated you found it in that record shop.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't. It's not on Bandcamp. It's not on Spotify.
What's it called?
It's called Sells Out. So like Ben Stiller Sells Out. Yeah. But no, it's kind of cool to have.
Yeah,
that's cool that you have that.
In a few years, that could be worth millions.
Yeah, I wish I had gotten it earlier. I could have gotten them to sign it or something when I talked to them. But I mean, you guys don't have anything like that, do you?
I mean, we got demos and stuff, but nothing that we've sort of taken down.
Yeah.
No. Although we're always tempted by that.
Yeah, we've got some old videos, but
old video.
I
don't know. I find it's good to leave it up so people can see the evolution.
I agree.
Yeah.
Art shouldn't be perfect.
No. And at the very least,
a bit of shit there.
Yeah. At the very least, they can go and be like, you know, like if you're here in 2025 or something. It sort of like makes it relevant. But that, you know, that was interesting. I don't have any early Pitbull albums, unfortunately. But yeah.
That's a shame.
No, that would be cool though if he just tried like, I don't know, something completely different than the persona that he has today.
Yeah.
But
yeah. He was going for Simon and Garfunkel. So he is.
Yeah.
Let it come.
Yeah.
I do have one more question for you guys. It's kind of a two-parter. So again, at the time of recording, Empty Words is out tomorrow. For people listening, it just came out on Wednesday. What's something you might want people to know going into the release of what is now your third EP?
What do I want them to know about the EP before going in?
Yeah, like if, you know...
yeah.
How long do you have?
Just remember. Yeah. Don't lose interest yet. I don't know. You know what's that one?
Should they know?
Sorry.
I think honestly, I think this EP is like I think our previous two EPs were fairly logical progressions in our evolution. I think musically as a band, and I think this EP is in a way our biggest leap for the album, the biggest stepping stone for the album. I think like the soul of the music in this EP is like something to look out for the album, if that makes sense.
No, definitely.
Not the songs themselves, but
yeah, I think on that, I would say this EP, I think of it almost like a transitional EP. Like the first two EPs, we were kind of finding our feet and sort of all getting on the same page. And then it was like, this EP is kind of like, let's mess it up and try and make something new for the album. And this is us sort of going through that process.
Yeah. I can definitely say, I mean, I heard the other two songs on the EP, and I think it's a nice, very nice. And I think they were not.
Think, Jack?
I like it.
Oh God.
Hey, it's no Ben Stiller Sells Out.
Yeah. It's worse.
No, but it is good. It's been a while since I heard it. I think it was several weeks ago. But it Toyota Camry was just about to come out. So if that gives you any idea.
Right. Okay.
And I think they were like not the final masters of the other two, but
yeah.
Oh, but yeah, great body of work. I think it works really well, and I agree with what you're saying. I think it does sound kind of like a transitional EP between like polyester and whatever the album's going to be.
Whatever the fuck is coming next.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, but second part to the last question, it's not really related. It's more just two last questions. I think I've read that your ultimate goal is just, quote, to make really good fucking music. Is there any more to that?
Who said that?
Which cringe lord said that to you?
I don't know. It was, I can pull up the interview right now that I read.
Oh, God.
No,
I want to distance myself from that comment.
Yeah.
I want to get that on the record.
It's really good fucking music.
I can see someone in Dazed and Confused saying that.
It was I'm sure you guys did a lot of interviews at South by Southwest, but it looks like it came out of South by Southwest.
Oh, God. What's your fit face?
It's out there.
No, I mean, to be honest, I'm joking, but that is
in other words, that is
a goal to make really good music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we just try and make, I feel like we, growing up in Australia, or just growing up being a teenager throughout the 2010s and stuff.
Sure.
It was just sort of like, it was like getting like a ginormous can of shit being poured on your head for like 10 years. And for us, it was like, we just sort of formed the band that we wanted to hear on the radio or whatever, that we definitely weren't. So yeah, we just kind of make the music that we want to hear or wanted to hear when we were in our teens and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we do it.
Would you say that a lot of people who are maybe in that sort of impressionable sort of mid-teens, do you see a lot of those types of people at your shows? Would you say it's sort of like...
Yeah, honestly, yeah. It's interesting because I coming over here, we didn't know what the kind of crowd was going to be like, what our sort of demographic was. But there definitely is a demographic, and it's like, it's pretty young, which is surprising because obviously the influences are kind of retro, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of it, there's a lot of like young, like 18 to early 20s people, which is really cool. Like I think it's really, what's really cool and exciting is you get young people that a lot of the time it's like, I don't know if you necessarily are fans of the bands that we're referencing, but you like us.
Yeah.
So that's cool to have people that like our music, not for the reason of like, oh, it sounds like The Cure or whatever. It's just like they just like it. So yeah, I find it really exciting that like they're really young, a lot of the people there. Also, it's like, I think that in a way, teenagers are the people that need music the most, I think. Being teenhood is like so like difficult. And music is a guiding light through a lot of the darkness of growing up and the difficulties. And so yeah, there's something like I mean, I don't want to sound ageist, but like I'm definitely happier about the fact that they're kind of like really young, the people that listen to us, because I think that like they need it more than a 33-year-old hit star. Yeah,
That's true. There you have it. Listen to Radio Free Alice's third EP, Empty Words, if you haven't already. It came out Wednesday, and it's their final EP before their debut album, due out at some point next year. And round out your experience by seeing them on the road in Europe or North America this fall. For more interviews with other cool bands, visit youngsteryear.com, follow this project on Instagram at youngsteryear, and listen to these interviews anywhere podcasts are available. That's right, we're now on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and probably more I can't think of right now. Anyway, that's all. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you for listening.